Kicking off today is our first podcast, and it's the age old debate that everyone wants to know: Messi versus Ronaldo. Who is better? Now, there's so many ways of looking at this problem, but we should, before we kick off, we want to say both players are fantastic, phenomenal, great players of our era. And look, when we look back in 20 years, 30 years, we'll be looking at these two careers and saying how long they've, stayed in the game of football and stayed at the top. To kick things off, I want to introduce the other people in the chat. So there's Rahat
What's up,
and
guys?
Lewis. Do you want to introduce yourselves?
Yes, hello.
Tell the audience who do you support, where you're from, just a bit about you if you want,
Yeah, no
whatever.
problem, man. So I'm a Liverpool fan, diehard Liverpool fan since the great days of the 2005 Champions League, that road to Istanbul, and then now that's inspired myself. And then, but I still acknowledge great talents such as Ronaldo, Messi. So it's a great first podcast to start with, and a great debate.
And you, Rahat, do you want to tell who you
Yeah,
support?
awesome. So I also support Liverpool. Man, we were so close to winning, 25 points clear,
Yeah.
and the Rona comes and hits us. So hopefully this season continues in a safe fashion. By the way, if you're listening to this, wash your hands. Um, yeah, so I started supporting Liverpool during the Michael Owen days, so around about 2000, 2001. And then it's just been a joyride ever since. So you had like the highs, like Lewis said, of the 2005 Champions League, and then you got the lows, like 2014.
Oh, and Gerrard slipped, and Denver Barr's in here. Out comes Mignolet, but Barr.
And I should mention I support the best team in the world, Chelsea Football Club. Before these two rub it in, so let's kick things off.
Yeah,
So what I'm going to do is talk about the stats of each player. And so in Messi's corner is Lewis, and in Ronaldo's corner is Rahat. So I'm just going to talk about all their stats, all-time stats, and then we can go through the discussion points that we have. So for Messi, total appearances is 856, assists 289, and 697 goals at the moment. Then for appearances, Ronaldo has 1,000 exactly, 220 assists, and goals 725. And for their international careers, that we should point out is Messi has 138 caps for Argentina with 42 assists and 70 goals. And Ronaldo has 99 goals, 28 assists in 164 caps. Each player, so Messi has won 6 Ballon d'Ors, is that correct?
yep,
That's correct.
Six, yeah. And Ronaldo has won 5.
yep,
Yeah. So, and just going off sort of seasons and highlights for me, and you guys can chip in your points. A highlight for example, Ronaldo is probably the 3 Champions Leagues that he's won back to back. And for me, it's probably winning something with Portugal, which something Messi hasn't done.
Yeah.
But for me, Messi's best season, I think, was 2012, where he's scored, I think, 91 goals in like a calendar year. And I think Barcelona won like the quadruple or something crazy in Spain.
yep,
I mean, these guys
yeah.
are so crazy. What do you think, guys? What were your highlights for these players?
Do you want to go first, Lewis?
Yeah, definitely for Messi. Like you said, the 6 Ballon d'Ors. That's a record. No other player's got the 6 Ballon d'Ors. He's got the 4 European Champions Leagues, and then he's got the like Barcelona's record is 34 trophies. He's the player with the most trophies in Barcelona. So, and they're the main summary of like his achievements, team and personal. But yeah. So what about Ronaldo? I think.
For Ronaldo, I look at just the sheer amount of goals that he scored, and it's the fact that he's been able to replicate this form no matter where he's played. whether he's played in England or the majority of his career in Spain, or whether he's played in Italy as he's playing now with Juventus. It's just been consistent goal scoring machinery from him. He's just like a robot. You put him within a sniff of the opposition goal, and he'll get one for you. He'll get two for you, and he's had so many iconic performances over the years. If you look at, say, last year now, Juventus Atletico Madrid, Juventus down 2-0, and then in the return leg, Ronaldo scores a hat trick to secure them through to the next round. And for me, that's where my sort of like basis comes. The fact that he's been able to play. Don't get me wrong, both these players are phenomenal players. Like they're they're definitely like the top two. Um, but just because Ronaldo's been able to play in other scenarios, in other countries, in other systems, so it's not like he's just been confined to one system that's designed to get the best out of him. You know what I mean?
The year and done things correctly. Do you know what I mean? And I think we should probably kick off to the first point, which is La Liga battles. Now, as
Yeah.
audience may be aware, Ronaldo, for 9 years, is it? Okay, yeah, something like that. But yeah, so he's what, at least nine, let's say 9, 10 years at Real Madrid, and Messi all his life. And I think we should discuss that period between Ronaldo's 9 years and Messi's during those 9 years of Messi. How would you guys kick off that? How would you guys argue that? Who had a better La Liga battle?
Round one. Fight!
No. I think when you support like Barcelona, like you look at the period between Ronaldo and the Messi period, you see Messi's won more La Liga titles during the same period. You definitely think that. So I think during the same period, it's like Ronaldo won two La Ligas and then Messi was on about five or six. So just on the Liga performance itself, you could argue that Messi is the a better player or more renowned player during that same time period. Yeah. And you also, but also more Champions League, not only on a domestic scale, but also on a European scale. So you're looking at Champions League, so from like 2008 to 2011, that's when they were like the same time period as Ronaldo. That's when they were competing with each other, and then Barcelona were doing a little bit better than Real Madrid. So that's how I see it in terms of for like Messi.
I'll throw this question to you, Raha, and this is kind of a debate that I've always thought about. And it's not. I'm trying not to go off a little bit off topic, but Pep Guardiola's team at Barcelona was described as the best team of all times. Um, that's what everyone's saying. You know, it's not me just sort of blowing it out or anything. But how would you compare, just before we kick off to that point about the Liga battle? How would you compare the three Champions League winning Ronaldo, that form, with Pep Guardiola's?
That's a good question. So with Pep Guardiola, we're talking from what, about 2012 to about 2014, right? Or was it before that?
Hmm.
Escaped him, but
Something
yeah.
along
So
those
you're
periods, yeah.
looking at like a phenomenal Barcelona team, and their legendary MSN trio with Messi, Suarez, Neymar, and I do believe
Hmm.
Iniesta was still kicking. I'm not sure about Xavi. He might have been playing like a more of a reduced role, but you still had Iniesta in that team. So think about it. You got like Iniesta, Messi,
Yeah.
Suarez, Neymar. Neymar was a fantastic signing for Barcelona. Iniesta, one of the best midfielders ever. So Pep Guardiola had a very loaded team, and so you compare that with, if you look at the Champions League runs that uh, Ronaldo went on in his triple Champions League uh, run with Real Madrid. Um, a lot of it has just been like Ronaldo playing very well in like the quarterfinals and the semifinals. Don't forget, he had a good strike partner in Gareth Bale. Um, Gareth Bale scored the second goal in the 4-1 win over Atletico Madrid the first time they beat them. So both squads were
Yeah.
incredibly talented, loaded with great world class players. But for me, even though
Mm.
coming
Yeah.
back to the La Liga battles now, you probably have to edge this one to Messi. Ronaldo's if you look at his stats throughout the La Liga years that he's been in, say his first season now, we're looking at 26 goals in the La Liga, 33 in all competitions, versus Messi's 34 La Liga, 47 in all competitions. So he's definitely brought it, and I think the season that they did win it was 2012, I believe. And you look at Ronaldo's 46 goals, 12 assists in 38 appearances, versus Messi's 50 goals, 16 assists. So for La Liga battles, I would give this one to
Yeah.
Messi just because of the sheer amount of La Ligas they've actually won.
That left foot, two. What about that? Stupendous strike. That nearly took the net off.
Yeah.
So the next point that we're going to discuss is both players' best season. So I mentioned earlier, 2012 was Messi's with the 91 goals in the calendar year. We'll kick it with you, Rahat. How do you feel Ronaldo's best season? And do you think he was good enough or better than Messi?
Ronaldo's best season. You could look at one of the few seasons Real Madrid did actually win the La Liga, and you'd probably point to one of those. So I
Yeah.
think maybe 2014-15 now. You're looking at
Okay.
in the La Liga 48 goals for Ronaldo, 16 assists in 35 appearances versus 43 goals for Messi. So we got Messi had 2 more assists. So Ronaldo scored more goals, Messi had more assists. But that was the year they won the I do beg your pardon. 2017 they won it. So let's have a
Okay.
look at So even then, even in a season where Ronaldo scored more goals than Messi, Barcelona are still lifting the title. So that just shows you the strength of Barcelona and the Messi team.
Yeah.
Going back to Ronaldo's best season, you might want to look at La Decima, where Real Madrid picked up the treble in 2017. So they picked up
Okay.
the Copa del Rey and the Champions League and the league. So they won. They did the holy treble. So in terms of accomplishments, you might want to look at that. But in terms of Ronaldo's perhaps best performance, you probably want to look at 2015. 61 goals in all competitions, 48 in La Liga, 10 in the Champions League. And of course, they won the Champions League that year as well. So you really have to look at 2000 for Ronaldo's stats, 2015. For Ronaldo's accomplishments, 2017.
Okay. And he won when was the Euros again? 2018, wasn't it?
Euros was 2016. Yeah.
Where Portugal
Yeah,
won it, right?
2016. Yeah. Even I'm just looking at the stats here now. So again, we're looking at Barcelona winning the La Liga, but then we've got 35 goals from Ronaldo, 11 assists,
Yeah.
and versus Messi's 26 goals and 16 assists. So
Okay. Yeah.
despite
Yeah.
despite
Yeah.
despite Ronaldo doing everything in his power, like Barcelona still have a stronghold over the La Liga.
Yeah. True. How would you continue that, Lewis? How would you phrase that?
For Lionel Messi's individual best season, probably 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he probably got spurred on from the previous season where they came second in the La Liga, and then he decided to turn it on. So in the 32 appearances he played for, he scored 46 goals. So that's like 1.3 goals a game. So that's crazy more than that. So no other, I don't see any other player doing that, like scoring 1.4 goals a game. So in that as well, so 2013, 2012, 2013 season, they won it like 3 consecutive titles after that. So 2012, 2014, 2015. So that's a bit off, but yeah, yeah. And then Yeah, and also with Argentina, probably arguably his best season as well for Argentina. So he scored 12 goals for Argentina, and that's probably the maximum. The previous before that, he was scoring by 8 goals. So that's the levels he's gone to another different level, probably spurred on from the La Liga last season from last season, and then also that he won the Ballon d'Or that season, and then the La Liga. So it's crazy. He's done some amazing stuff during that 12 to 13 season.
Real again from Messi. Absolutely astonishing. He gets his angles better than Isosceles again. But look at this.
I think we have to give this one to Messi. You know, as much as I'm trying to be fair, I think Messi's that season 91 goals. I don't think that will ever be replicated. Calendar year, that's it. Yeah. So the next point is Messi is in the lead with 2-0, and this is probably the area Ronaldo can redeem himself. International careers. As we know, Ronaldo scored 29 goals, more than Messi at this current time, and he's won a trophy. What else can you say, Brad?
You mainly hit on the head there. Like, he's had international success with Portugal. So just looking at, again, just throw out some stats there: 164 caps, 99 goals. So he's 1 off 100. He'll probably get that if the world ever resumes back to normal. 28 assists. And Messi's numbers are very good as well: 138 appearances, 70 goals, 42 assists. What you want to look at is if Messi won the World Cup in 2014, where Argentina got to the final, and he was very good. I think he got best player tournament, didn't he? Maybe 5 or 6 goals, a handful of assists. So he was very influential throughout the tournament. And if he had that World Cup on his resume, that may have been the icing on the cake to just shut down this argument that is done. Is Messi is the best. So I think that was probably maybe a bullet dodged for Ronaldo fans and Cristiano Ronaldo himself.
Yeah,
Obviously,
because
Ronaldo.
I
Yep.
think the person to blame was Higuain, wasn't it? I think he was like missing
Yeah.
easy chances or
Higuain.
something,
Yeah.
if I remember.
Higuain missed a one-on-one, and I think Messi missed a one-on-one himself as well. So,
Okay.
but then you look at Ronaldo. He's had international success.
Yeah.
From a start, he was in the Euro 2014. That went to the finals. Then he's been in consistent World Cups ever since. World Cups, his performance hasn't been amazing. Like, he's done well in the group stages, but I don't think he's scored in the knockout round of a World Cup yet. So he's got that against him. But yeah, you want to look at Ronaldo's. Even though he was injured for the majority of the 2016 final, he still played a key part in Portugal reaching the final, and you can see his passion for the game. Like, he's out there on the sidelines shouting his team, encouraging his teammates. So I think you want to give this one to Ronaldo just because he's had more success. And one point that isn't really Messi's fault is that whenever we think of Argentina, we think of how many great attackers they have. So, like, right now they have Messi himself, they have Aguero, Manchester City's best striker ever, maybe the best Premier League striker ever. You've got Higuain, you've got Dybala, you've got Di Maria, you've got the Inter Milan forward Lautaro Martinez as well. So they've got so much firepower that.
Who's the guy? What's his name? Icardi. That's it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, Mauro Icardi, I forgot about him. So they've got like so much firepower up top that, like,
Yeah. Oh,
everybody has such high expectations of Argentina just because they got so many world class strikers,
yeah.
and you can't play 5 strikers up top in a football
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
So, but then that expectation still goes against Messi. So he's like handed been. I guess he's got like a double-edged sword there. Now he's got great teammates, but they can't play because you can't have 5 strikers.
Of course. And going to you, Lewis. Obviously, Rahad's put a point that the World Cup and things.
Yeah,
But one thing I will remind you guys is he's been to 2 Copa del Reys and they've lost both. I think both times to Chile on penalty shootouts.
yeah,
Which, yeah, arguably, yeah, he didn't win. But the fact that he's got to, I guess, so many finals Can you, I mean, defend or say anything?
Yeah, definitely. So he's been to like his two back-to-back Copa Libertadores, so two finals and where they've lost in penalties, and then in those situations, penalties is down to who's got the bigger, like who's got bigger luck, and in that times like Messi didn't have the luck. So, but would it change if Messi won one of the Copa del Reyes, and then, but like I like Rahat's argument saying that maybe Argentina is a lot more front focused, like so focus. So is that really detriment to Messi as well? So if they had a more even balanced squad, would that be something that that's hindered Messi over the times?
I mean, the point I'm trying to think is, have Portugal got this world class defense? And I don't think so. I mean, they've had great defenders like Ricardo Carvalho, but then
Yeah.
they've got clowns like Pepe,
Yeah,
you know. So,
Yeah, yeah.
like, do they? And then they had who's the monobrow guy from Chelsea?
I think
We
what
had him.
Oh, Jose
Oh,
Bosingwa.
Basingwa. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Like,
yeah,
have Portugal really had a solid defense? I mean, can you really say that?
yeah.
I don't know. Can you say that, Lewis?
But I think if you go back to like the Euro, is it 2016 final? Or is it 2014? That was a bit more lucky, a bit more luck where Eder, who hasn't scored a goal for even Swansea, he just come back man. So Eder used to play, I think he was Swansea, and then he couldn't get a game, and then he somehow bangs it in for his
Yeah.
Portugal. But then, if it went to penalties, would that have been a different outcome? But as you know, it's a extra time goal, and anything can happen in these one-off situations where,
There is. Yeah, yeah. Go on.
yeah,
Anything could happen, really. There was one point I was going to mention that just I have had a flashback. If you guys remember the Euro 2016, did Portugal even win a game in normal time? Didn't they win like everything in
yeah,
like additional time? Wasn't it?
yeah,
Or am
Yeah,
I?
I think it's just against Wales, unfortunately.
Okay, okay,
Just against my country that they won
yeah,
in 90 minutes. Apart from that, you're looking at a 1-0 win after extra time against Croatia here.
mm,
And we've got a 1-1 draw with Poland, which went to penalties, which they won 5-3
okay,
on penalties. So yeah, Ronaldo took a penalty in that penalty shootout. Probably the last one. You know he likes to
yeah,
take that. No, I think it might be the
yeah.
first one. But yeah, like you said, they don't like to get the job done in 90 minutes. It's always like leave it late after extra time, penalties. This one might have been penalties as well. I mean, by the time the game had ended, they had the likes of Quaresma, Moutinho, as you said, Eder was there, Nani was on the pitch, so they had some, penalty takers on there.
Yeah,
So would they have done well? Like Lewis said, penalties are a lot of luck, isn't it?
yeah.
So, but what happened is Portugal won and Ronaldo had an international trophy to his name. So
Yep, I think that's fair enough, and I
استفزه
think
بلاتر
that's 2-1.
فقرر أن
So
يعاقب
Ronaldo's got to claw
الجميع
back into this race.
الكوماندر.
The fourth point is longevity of players. So currently, Messi is 32 years, 9 months, and 8 days. I've got this website, so don't worry, guys. I haven't like looked at his passport or anything. Cristiano Ronaldo is 35 years old, 1 month and 27 days.
you wouldn't think he's 35, would you? Though, with the way he had toned his body and his athletic performance. I mean, do you remember that jump against that Cagliari defender only a couple of months
Oh
ago,
yeah,
where
oh
where
beautiful.
his hip was at the other guy's head? So, but yeah, sorry to cut over you, Kyle.
No, no, no. That was what I was gonna say. Who has the better longevity? Obviously, Ronaldo's older, but do you see him having a lot more longevity in his career? Because now he was a winger, and I think all players lose their pace. Even Messi's lost his pace,
Yeah,
but his striker instinct, his ability to find the goal,
yeah,
that's not changed. That's, if anything, that's gone better.
Yeah.
What would you say about longevity?
So it seems for Ronaldo, he started like as you said, very much a winger. Cutting inside from the right, flashy step overs, tricks, the lot. So as he's aged, he's moved more into a central striking role. And as you see, the way he plays for Juventus is he's always like, well, most of the time, he's always the furthest man forward. He's always ready for the counter attack. He's always the out ball. He's always like there to like relieve pressure, hold up the ball, and bring the attack into play. So he's adapted his game as any great player will throughout the years by becoming that sort of like more traditional centre forward rather than having to drop deep, as you'll see Messi do like quite a lot. So and then you look at the way Ronaldo takes care of his body, what he eats, how he trains. Um, I don't I have like a lot of confidence that you'll see Ronaldo in 2022 World Cup, and who knows, maybe even the other one. 'Cause, like I don't think we've ever seen a footballer take this much care of their body as Ronaldo. And it's not just the abs. It's about like how he treats his body, what he puts in, how he uses his body. So in terms of like he's like a robot. It's like what is he 1% body fat, maybe 6 feet something. Um, extremely chiseled, like athletically he's still great. He's still got pace. He still beat like a lot of footballers in a 100 meter race. So I think longevity. Cristiano Ronaldo is set. He's very much just ready to go. To be honest, like yeah, age gets everybody, but age is gonna have to wait for Cristiano Ronaldo.
And how would you argue Messi's case, Lewis?
I think because like you said, the Messi's a few years younger than Ronaldo. I think about 3 years younger. You're gonna have to look in it like in the future, see like compare. So all we can do is compare age to age basis. For example, like how was Ronaldo when he was like 32, or compared to how Messi was doing. But I think the style of play is very different. Like Messi and Ronaldo. Ronaldo needs to be on top of their physique, while Messi he's a playmaker. He likes to link up players. He was just a smaller stature as well, so he doesn't need to jump over these for these like extraordinary headers like Ronaldo has to do, or he has to do less maintenance of the body, and also it depends on the manager as well. So you're looking at how the player changes, how the importance of the player changes. For example, at the moment Ronaldo is being used as centre forward for Shari with Dybala or Higuain next to him. But then Messi is still playing a number 10 position. So he's got Suarez next to him, or um, used to be Neymar, but also now more Carlos Braithwaite for Barcelona. So just really look,
Oh, that legend from Middlesbrough, yeah.
yeah, 16 million signing, man. And who else they got? Yeah, so just really, but in terms of like,
Griezmann, Dembele, yeah.
yeah, Griezmann, Dembele, and then also it just shows you how like Griezmann hasn't been doing really well in Barcelona at the moment. Like this season, maybe he's got time to adapt to the Barcelona system. Dembele as well. So there's a,
So one of the points I want to add in is, so I watched actually, I think it was, I can't remember when, but it was this year, maybe a couple months back. So QPR versus Derby, and Wayne Rooney plays for Derby,
Yeah.
as you both know. And one of the things that really I kind of thought about just briefly before we kicked off is, like, Rooney was used as a striker. Well, he was a striker, and he's moved into a cam position. Um, I can see that with Messi. I can see him going into like an Iniesta role into midfield down the years. But with Ronaldo, I don't know if you can convince me, right? Because I can. He's gone from winger to forward, but can he stay forward all this time? Do you think he can change his as a striker? Like, for example, Felipe Inzaghi, who's like the tap-in merchant, as you Liverpool fans will know. That's why I had to rub it in
Yeah.
2007. Um, do you think he can add that to his game, even though he's all players are going to become slow? Do you think he can change up his style even more if needed?
Um, I think when you look at the case of Wayne Rooney, uh, he always had like a strike partner with him. He always had
True.
like a partner in crime. So in the very early years, he had Ronaldo and Tevez, didn't he? And
Yeah,
then once Ronaldo left, I think Berbatov came in maybe
yeah,
2011. So he had another partner in crime. After Berbatov, you had the likes of Javier Hernandez and Robin van Persie. So because Rooney always had a partner in crime,
yeah.
he was kind of more suited within the striking partnership. He was always kind of like the playmaker. He always chipped in with a lot of goals. Because I think
True,
he's like
true.
Manchester United's top scorer, but he always had that creative side of the game to him, and similar with Messi, to be honest. Like Messi was always like good at through balls, assists. He always counted that. But whereas when you look at Ronaldo and his style of play, um, Ronaldo's style of play is that he is the one scoring the goal. Like if there's anybody gonna score a goal on the
Mm.
pitch, it has to be Ronaldo. He does have like a lot of assists. Like he's had like some seasons 20, 25 assists, things like that. Um, but
Yeah.
because of just how goal scoring dominant Ronaldo is, that's how he's been able to transition to this like kind of like old fashioned centre forward, the one that sort of like just stays up top all the time. And he's
Yeah.
got a good team in Juventus that let him do that. Because if you look at the midfield in Juventus, they're more than happy to like do all the running so that Ronaldo can focus on his attack
Goals.
and focus on his goal, focus on his positioning, and it works. So he scored like I said, a hat trick against Atletico Madrid before. He scored, I think, 20 something goals in his first season for Juventus. And you know how yeah, we always have this notion that Italy is a very defensive league. So to score
Yeah.
21 goals in what's considered the most defensive league in the world is like a huge accomplishment in
For
31
sure.
appearances as well. So I think yeah, they haven't transitioned the same, but I think Ronaldo's transition just helps him, like keep up his incredible goal scoring rate.
Something I kind of see with Ronaldo is the Zlatan Well, Zlatan in some ways, in the sense that Zlatan's still that old, traditional central forward,
Yeah,
and obviously Zlatan's lost a lot of pace. But I still think Ronaldo still has a few more years in him, and I can see um, that he can still mold into a more complete striker. I mean, you can always improve your game for sure, but I
yeah,
think for longevity, I still think Ronaldo even 40. I really do think he can play until 40.
yeah,
But
exactly.
with Messi, I can't see that.
But I think when you look at the Xavis, the Iniestas, they they retired at 36, but
35, 36, yeah, things like that, yeah.
Xavi Iniestas. But then Messi, he can go into a wide different range of positions. I could see him playing deep line playmaker, dropping back, and then maybe if he's lost a Xabi Alonso type player. But I feel like it's very, very difficult to say that whether Ronaldo can maintain it to about 38, 39. So maybe he's got 4 more seasons in him. It's very, very difficult to say. Like he could be, because
But the question is, can you see Messi playing until 40? Because I can see Ronaldo playing at 40
I think
at the top.
top level. I think it depends on like ultimately Barcelona whether they want to, or there's a lot of like Ronaldinho with a older or a new up and coming like Catalonian player come in.
Who's that player?
Yeah,
Ansu, isn't it? That 16-year-old.
Ansu, yeah.
Yeah, and Ansu Fati or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So whether he comes in and says, yeah, he's slowly phasing them out. What happened with Ronaldinho, Rivaldo,
Eto, yeah.
yeah. So, but I think he would maybe he goes to another. I can't see him playing for another Brazilian like Spanish side, but we'll see. Maybe he could try a different league. So he could come to the Premier League. There's talks he can come to like English Premier League. So he's got a few more years in him. It could be.
I'm I'm sorry, Lewis, but I have to give this to Ronaldo.
This year. Magical.
This one drops in, and forget a rabbit.
It's ecstasy! Astonishing! This is not just a dream, it's a wet dream.
The next question is who has the better brand? I actually did a bit of research.
How you present yourself, because I think Ronaldo's seen as quite personally flamboyant person, while Messi is very, very behind the scenes. Like, and how do you portray that to views, followers? So it's very difficult to really put that into numbers. I think if you're looking for someone who's humble, and you could argue it's Messi, but then if you're looking at more than that, such as your flamboyancy, which is definitely up and coming from the digital age, so it'd be Ronaldo. That's my thoughts.
Yeah. I think if you look at just like the sheer amount of endorsements that Ronaldo has, and I think there was a figure that was came out the other day that Ronaldo is the first footballer who is on track to reach a billion. I think it was $1 billion. Was it from his playing career and his endorsements? And if you think about it, like you said, from the followers to the amount of endorsements and the way Ronaldo presents himself, he's always out there. He's always ever since his early days, he's always been like very extravagant. He's always like had the best clothes, had the best hair. He's just been a very out there person, hasn't he? Whereas you look at Messi, he's a much more reserved person. You don't hear as much about him, in the
Tax fraud,
papers or
yeah.
anything like that. Um,
Sorry.
and
No, of
But
course.
we gotta think about like the ultimate flex. Is that Ronaldo bought a private island to hide
Yeah,
out during this whole coronavirus thing. So, is
yeah,
there a bigger flex than buying a whole island just to live in by yourself? Um, but no, I think you got to give brand to Ronaldo just because of he has that image of being a very
yeah.
friendly person. And like you said, he's got like a bigger following, more deals as well. Especially if you look at his deals with Nike, how many what you call it exclusive boots he had released just for him. His own CR7 range. He even has his own like CR7 shops and museum in Portugal, stuff like that. So
I mean, the
yeah,
thing
I'd give
that
that
I would
one
add
to
is
Ronaldo.
kind of in terms of brand. I obviously you look at the social media side of things, and you look at the projects, and you look at things like that. But one of the things that come into mind is the charity work as well of a brand, and it's not so much taking, but so much
Yeah,
giving as
yeah,
well. And one of the points is, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Lewis, but if Messi's done things like this, but in terms of charity work, I know Ronaldo's given to Palestine, causes that aren't of his. I don't know. You would say his known or his interest, if you know what I mean. It's not his sort of realm to promote or give to these, and he gives blood as well quite regularly, as you've probably both seen as well. I mean, so I'm probably more edging to Ronaldo, but I don't know if you can sway me to Messi, Lewis. Is there anything you else can?
Like Messi's got his own like boots, like you said, like Ronaldo's got the CR7s and Messi's got the Predators. Like the idea has his own range for that. So add to that, but
Yeah.
then yeah, but I think a lot of Messi's work is a lot. He's not a public person. He likes to do a lot of his stuff um, out of generosity rather than publicity. I would say so. Like he doesn't want to other
Okay.
people to acknowledge his type of work, which is in some ways you don't see the brand itself. So you could be doing a lot of work in like Catalonia, Argentina, but I think another issue with like Messi itself is I think he really only speaks Spanish, so that could hinder him on his brand as well. So it could be argued for both players, but maybe like a more world-centric market, maybe Ronaldo.
The leg off the steel post. And he's doing it. The choke slam. Oh my God! Right to the ring. The big show.
I just wanna nip in there and say Ronaldo was ranked second in Forbes list of highest paid athletes of the decade. So the only person to earn more than him was Floyd Mayweather Jr. So the money team in there. So I think that says a lot that like with around about 615 million pounds from 2010 to 2019. That's a huge amount of endorsements and income and everything like that. So yeah, that's just like another case for Ronaldo really being a second in the Forbes list.
Yeah. So 3-2 Ronaldo. Next point. Who would be a better fit for Liverpool's system and why? And this is talking about any of the front three that gets moved up for Ronaldo. So, for instance, Klopp has the ability to do a swap deal for Messi and Ronaldo. I'm Klopp as an example. Why should I take Ronaldo? And who should I replace him with?
Um, for me, you'd probably want to replace Ronaldo with. It may seem controversial, but I'd probably say Salah
Okay.
because the work Firmino and Mane do off the ball,
Yeah.
um, Ronaldo doesn't do that much. But if you look at the way Salah's played lately, he's kind of become that sort of central striking figure for Liverpool. So he's kind of like every game there's a bit less defensive responsibilities for him and a bit more attacking responsibilities. And if you look at the way Ronaldo plays, he doesn't have a huge amount of defensive responsibilities in his Juventus team. Um, Whereas, so that's similar actually to Salah. So if you look at it, they're both kind of players that you don't expect them to be like defending the other team's strikers or attackers or anything like that, and
Yeah.
they're often the focal point of the attack. If you were to take Firmino or Mane out, a lot of their off the ball work so say if you swap Firmino for Ronaldo,
Yeah.
Firmino was often seen as like the orchestrator for the Liverpool attack. You don't get that anymore. So you kind of got like just three strikers, running up top. Obviously they
Yeah.
score goals, but you're missing that creative link. With Mane, you've just got like a dude that just never stops running. Like
Yeah.
from the first minute till the 91st minute, it's like he's still running at 100 miles an hour. So if you were to swap out Firmino or Mane for Ronaldo, you'd lose a lot of their off the ball qualities. So I think you'd want to swap him out with Salah just because they're similar in that they're the focal point of the attack, don't have a huge amount of defensive responsibilities, and their main impetus is to score goals.
So yeah, that's your argument for Ronaldo being in the Liverpool system ahead of Messi. Lewis, what's your argument that Messi fits in, and possibly who would you do a swap deal with?
So I'd say like Messi. Would you see? Could I see Ronaldo in a Jurgen press formation? So he's pressing from the front to the back. Do I see him playing? So it could be argued whether that's possible, whether he can play, he can change his system, play more defensive as well. I'm thinking Messi as well. So he's used to it. So he's used to attack and defending. So for example, I was thinking to look into Firmino. So he's playing at number 9. So he's going into more playmaking position in midfield and moving straight to the attack. So do I see Ronaldo doing this? So doing the Jurgen press going from the front to the back, and also you're looking at Messi's different range of abilities, such as his passing ability, his um, his agility abilities, more suited to the Jurgen press system that Klopp has. Because I think he loves defending from the back, and then also with especially looking at the Juve system, where Sarri is not much. Ronaldo has less defensive responsibilities, while Messi still, with Barcelona formation, still has to do a lot more defending than Ronaldo could be argued. So, in terms of fitting into the Liverpool formation, and then with the current system, such as the Jurgen press, um, yeah, Messi would be more suited to Ronaldo due to his qualities, his passing, and his agility going from and stamina as well. Yeah, so
Yeah, just to reply to Lewis there. with Messi in Barcelona's system, he is defensively active, but he isn't often like the guy running around. He has Suarez to run around for him, and
Yeah.
maybe bite someone along the way. But in terms of like the gegenpress, do you think Messi has the physicality and the fitness needed to keep up such a high level of maintenance? Because when you look at Salah, he he's kind of like passively pressing, so he's kind of like there, he's lingering, but he's not really like busting his gut to get to the defender. So that's kind of like where I see Ronaldo doing. Do you think Messi can press like Suarez used to? I would hound down every defender.
Mm. But then a lot of Jurgen's responsibility is passing. A lot of it to do is the team player is you could argue whether in this case who's the better team player, Ronaldo or Messi, who links up the players more. There's a lot more argument to be that Messi with in regards to Griezmann, Dembele, Luis Suarez, and in terms of like the Liverpool system, like the Jurgen press, that's what he'd be looking more to. But I think in Klopp's situation, he'd rather he'll take both. He'll take both.
But the argument I'm going to put kind of forward and kind of say my bit is um, Messi. So you're saying Firmino for Messi, and I kind of see that could work. And the only reason why I say that is because he's done it before in I'm not saying similar, but kind of a quite similar. If you remember the false nine under Guardiola, where
Yeah.
that
For yeah.
I think I'm going to go with Messi right now with this. Um, Only because he could probably fit into a club system that I could see. Um, okay, and the final point. I just want to end on any final discussions. This is the winning point. Um, is there anything else you can say in your favor to say Messi? So the scores are 3-3 at this point. Any point you can say, or any few points that you can say that makes Ronaldo better or Messi better?
Ronaldinho and Ronaldinho, he won the Ballon d'Or, and then Barcelona said they want to replace him for Messi, and that's got to add some merit to it as well in terms of like sheer ability. Like he's replaced a lot of Ballon d'Or, good, amazing players, and then he's adapted his position several times. For example, like the Guardiola position, and then how he's changed his and adapted his playing style now is something to look at as well. So, and the guy's an animal, man. He's won like 34 trophies over his time. Like the most amount numbers of Ballon d'Or, so he's at 6. So he won it in 2019 at like last season at the age of 32. So he's still doing bits, man. At 32 years old, he's not declining at all. It's just a matter of time, man. And then Messi's the boss.
I mean, you've ended it nicely.
Yeah.
Rahat, as the defendant. No.
um,
Is there anything you can
for
add
me,
on to
I look
Ronaldo why you
at
should win?
I look at the amount of Champions League he's won, which most prestigious trophy in Europe. He's also the top scorer in the Champions League. I think he has, is it 128 goals in the Champions League? Don't get me wrong, Messi scored a bunch load as well. Yeah,
But I
but
think Ronaldo's top goal
yeah,
scorer, isn't it?
Ronaldo
Yeah.
has 128 goals in Champions League. I mean, for for a tournament that you only play like, what is it? If you win, you play like 16 games, is it? Uh, if you win the Champions League, it's not a what you call it, a standard league where you play 38 games. So to score 128 goals over the course of his career in 12 games, 16 games, something like that, it's absolutely phenomenal. To lift it, I think. is it 5 times he's won the Champions League now? Once with Manchester United, and
Yeah.
4 times with Real Madrid. Or is it 4 times he won the Champions League?
No, he's won it. I know La Decima was one, and then I think Barcelona won it the following year, and then I think they won it. Real Madrid won like 3 in a row, so I think
Yeah.
he's won 5. Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at it, like Liverpool only just won their 6-1, so they were on 5 for a long time, and now Ronaldo by himself is on 5. You know, so like Ronaldo has won more Champions League than other clubs combined. You know, you look
yeah,
at
yeah,
his international achievements. Winning the Euros, taking Portugal to the finals. And you look at the way he's just been able to consistently perform whatever he's been, whether it's at Manchester United, whether it's at Real Madrid, whether it's at Juventus, or if it's we're playing with Portugal as well. So wherever he's been, wherever he's played, he's always been able to bring such a high standard of playing with him. So because he's been able to take that from country to country, and like different countries have their different playing styles. Spain is sometimes considered a little bit softer than the Premier League.
yeah,
Tackles that would be called in the Spanish league aren't called in the Premier League. So he's been able to do it in different different cultures, really, different cultures. So being able to replicate that is one of the key reasons why I think Ronaldo does win. But I mean, you're looking at the two best footballers, to ever play the game, to be
yeah,
honest. So
yeah.
honestly, it's just lucky that we're alive,
Lewis, I was gonna end. I'm gonna base my decision on the answer you give to this final question. Are you ready?
Is it red or blue corner?
Uh, uh, so the question is, can Messi do it on a cold night in Stoke?
Can he do it in a cold night of Stoke? I think you're forgetting that the Barcelona is also a temperate climate, man. It's not very far from the UK. So, and also, well, if it's just particularly Stoke, it would be Ronaldo. But I think if you look at how many like finals Messi's been in, not only just in terms of club performance but also internationally, you were looking at Messi. So you're talking about the Comp Libertadores, like two-time finalist, multiple like one World Cup finals, multiple La Liga titles, 5-time, 6-time champion, 4-time Champions League winners. He's a big time player, so it's very very. It would be his type of game style would be easily adapted to a climate such as like Stoke, but we'll never know unless Messi decides to go to the Premier League, and I hope he does. Like maybe in a few years' time, he goes to Man City or Premier League
If
time
they're not still
or
banned,
Liverpool.
from that
Yeah.
transfer.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll wrap things up, and I think I'm gonna give it to Ronaldo.
Hey.
And the only reason it's a very tough one. The only reason why I've given it is
oh,
one, longevity of him as a striker, um, his ability to play in different leagues and still perform at the top level. Um, International career has come into picture, despite of course Messi's been in the final, but no one remembers the second place person.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you very much.
It's a good
But I
debate.
mean,
It's been a really good debate. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Yeah. So
Okay, so this is the end of the first podcast. Hope you subscribe, like the podcast, and share it with all your friends.
Wash your
Thank you for
hands,
listening.
guys. Wash your
yeah,
hands.
keep watching. Stay at home. Save the NHS.